How do you feel about the idea of Diane not being allowed to stand for Labour at the general election?
Well, I think it's incredibly unfair. I think she's been someone who's given so much of her life's work to Hackney, and she's really fought for the community and fought for like the black community specifically, and I feel like she really represented a lot of black people in the community also. So to treat her in the way that she's been treated is also a knock-on effect on all of us, because it tells us that we don't matter.
What's your opinion of Diane Abbott as your local MP?
I love her.
Why is that?
Because she stands up for so many people. Any like little protest there is, I don't know, my husband's a librarian, and the library workers went on strike, and she came to those protests. If there's a children's centre closing down, she's always there supporting local people, and she's been here for forever. She's been here for longer than I've been in Hackney. There's a huge amount of respect for her.
So how long have you lived in this area?
Oh, about 40 years actually.
And has Diane Abbott been your MP for most of that then?
Yes, I would say so, yeah.
How do you feel about her as your local MP?
I like her a lot. I had some problems with getting my son into a secondary school, and she helped me with that. And I really do appreciate that. So I do like her. I'm very much in support of her and what she stands for.
I'm not one that follow politics, but all I know that Diane Abbott is a very good MP. Yeah. That's all I can say.
What's she done for this area?
She do a lot of things for the area.
How do you feel about Diane Abbott not being allowed to stand as a Labour candidate in the next election?
I think it's outrageous.
Why is that?
Because she's a devoted left-wing Labour, and it's part of Keir Starmer's getting rid of the left-wingers out of Labour, I think. I think that's been pretty obvious. She's been returned to the Labour Party, but then being banned as being a candidate is ridiculous, especially in this seat. She has a devoted following in this. I mean, no, Diane's not perfect, but she has huge support in her constituency.
She's been the MP for here forever. She's incredibly important, done a lot of incredible work. And then, like, she just hasn't done anything wrong. I personally think that her statement was in a bit poor taste. It wasn't very well thought out. I didn't think it was very good. And I was a bit like, it made me a bit sad. But like ultimately she apologised. She completely took responsibility for it. And then now she's been sitting in limbo for about a year or two. And it's just not a way to treat one of the most important Labour MPs we have right now, one of the most historic, right? And it's just like, it makes me upset as someone. I've just recently turned 18. I was really looking forward to voting for Diane Abbott. She's one of the MPs that I really look up to. I think it's really important. But I now have just been denied the ability to express how I want to vote, which isn't how a democracy should work.
I think Keir Starmer has shown the people who he really is. He's shown his real colours, and he doesn't deserve the vote of the people of Hackney and Stoke Newington. Diane Abbott should absolutely run as an independent.
Diane Abbott's been my MP for many, many years. I've always voted for her. I'm very angry that she may not be selected. She's always been a really good MP. And I've actually resigned my Labour Party member because of Keir Starmer, my Labour Party membership because of Keir Starmer. And I'm in a quandary now. I don't want the Tories to get in. But do I vote for somebody who's changed the Labour Party from a socialist party to Tory? I don't know.
She's a long-serving politician. I'm really fed up with a number of people who come in it for a while and then clear off. She has stuck with it, and I may not always have agreed with her views, but I think they've been honestly held on that, so I do respect her for that.
Mm-hmm. Today the Labour Party is saying that it's not going to let her stand as a Labour candidate at the general election on the 4th of July. How do you feel about that?
I don't agree with that. I really don't agree with that. I can't see why they're not. I mean, I know that there was all this issue about the comments she made, and I think they were very ill-advised. Ill-advised at the time, the heightened sensitivity, but I don't think that she's done anything, and if you look at her long-term record, I don't think there's anything to suggest that she shouldn't stand, that she's unfit for standing.
I live in Hackney Central, for about 14 years now,
And you said you're a Labour person, you traditionally vote Labour?
I always vote Labour, yeah. Yeah.
And this election, do you feel inspired by the Labour Party?
No, that thing I just hear, I can't vote Labour. No.
Why?
No, because they don't support the ladies. She worked with a party for a long time.
You're talking about Diane Abbott.
Yeah, Diane Abbott. Yes, you represent us. That one I think like is a discrimination. No, I'm not happy for it. No.
How do you feel about her not being allowed to stand as a Labour MP at the next election?
I think it's disgusting. Yeah, I think it's a really rubbish way of treating someone. She's apologised. She made a mistake. She apologised like over a year ago. It should just be done with. It's just ridiculous. It's really disrespectful.
How do you feel about the news about Diane Abbott not being allowed to stand for Labour in the next election?
No, it's terrible news. It's terrible news. It's like, honestly, it doesn't represent like the people of the borough she used to represent, you know what I mean? And I think about that time where she was, I've never seen the clip of her standing 40 times and then being ignored. And it's just heartbreaking seeing the way she's being treated.
Why do you think Diane's been treated any differently in terms of her, comments about Jewish people than, say, Steve Reed, who called a Tory donor a puppet master and faced no disciplinary action?
I think firstly, she's a black woman. I think it's pretty clear. It's perceived a little differently, quite differently than a lot of other figures. But also, I think it's a huge amount of it's just like politics in the terms of like, it's not actually about what she said. It's not about her being anti-Semitic. Like, this clearly isn't the issue. It's about getting rid of one of the like key pillars and most important people in the left to bring in someone that like more closer aligns with Keir Starmer's politics.
Do you think that Labour can still consider itself an anti-racist party? This was Keir Starmer's whole shtick, that he's, going to get rid of all the kind of Corbyn racists. But do you think that that's what he's done? Do you think that Keir Starmer's party is now an anti-racist party?
No, I think he's full of bullshit. I mean, he says a lot of stuff and then goes back on it. He had his whole like eco pledge and then scrapped that. I think he was meant to be like a real aid to Corbyn when he was running, and then he's kind of just done this whole U-turn in his support on that. I don't trust him at all. I think the Labour Party has been really shit, to be honest, not just towards her, but also what's been going on in Palestine. Yeah, they're not getting my vote.
Keir Starmer's claim is that he's turned his party from a racist party under Jeremy Corbyn to now an anti-racist party that the Labour Party has, historically been. Do you believe that it's an anti-racist party?
I don't know what his definition of anti-racism is. Yeah, it's clearly with what's happening now with Diane Abbott. If anything, that spotlight on his understanding of racism.
How do you feel about the prospect of Keir Starmer as Prime Minister? Are you excited by that idea?
Yeah, I think he'll do a good job. I actually used to work as a debt coach, and quite a few of my clients were in his constituency, and he did some really good things about sorting people out, banging heads together higher up when, people were kind of like withholding people's benefits or just people weren't doing the right thing. And Keir Starmer, he wrote to a head of a hospital for one of my clients and said, will you get this sorted out? One department saying she owes us money, another department saying we owe her, I don't know, it's something about £6,000 or £7,000 in sick pay arrears and all of that. And Keir Starmer, because I saw the letter, I know he wrote to the head of the hospital and said, get this sorted out. And within a week, it was all sorted out. And my client, who was in debt, suddenly found themselves better off by, £6,000 or £7,000. He gets things done on that level, and I think he will make a good job.
I'm really not impressed with Keir Starmer, to be honest. And I've always voted Labour, but I'm not voting Labour this year.
What are the issues that have swayed you?
Well, in terms of the continuation of arms sale to Israel under the current situation, I don't know that Starmer, who is potentially going to become Prime Minister, has made that position clear enough in terms of his government and what their position is going to be under the current situation.
I only vote for Labour when it kind of makes sense. I mean, frankly, Labour's a bit right-wing for me. So, but in this constituency, it's kind of not much point going anywhere else on a general election, though I do support the Greens quite a lot. But normally I'd probably go with Diane. She's my MP, and she's always supported most of the things I've been concerned about personally. So,
What do you think about Keir Starmer, the leader of the Labour Party? Do you think he'd make a good Prime Minister?
I don't know. No, I don't like him. Like personally, I don't see him be like Prime Minister of that country. No.
He just wants to clear the Labour Party of anybody from the left. It just doesn't want them in the party. It's horrible.
Are you excited about the prospect of a Keir Starmer government?
No.
Why?
I just think he's really right wing and not Labour, definitely not socialist. At least Diane Abbott not standing for Labour. I won't have to vote for Labour. That's the best thing I can say.
And what do you think about the idea of Keir Starmer being the next Prime Minister? Is that exciting for you?
It's quite the opposite, actually. Not very exciting, very depressing.
Why?
Because of like the way he's treated Diane Abbott and like his views. Keir Starmer isn't someone I usually turn to in terms of like, I guess, for my political like representation.
You know, if Diane Abbott isn't allowed to stand as a Labour MP and she decides to stand as an independent candidate, will you still vote for her?
Yeah, I think I will, actually. I think I will. I'm very loyal to her. Yeah, for personal reasons as well. Yeah, I think I will.
I'd consider voting for her as an independent, yes. Yes, I would.
And if Diane Abbott were to stand as an independent candidate, you know, not a Labour candidate, would you vote for her?
Yes, I would vote for her, yes. Without, heartbeat.
I'll vote for her, yes, I will. And I'll encourage my sister, my brother to vote for her. Yeah.